Hey YouTubers, how's it going? Well, I'm going to be the voice behind the curtain for this entire video because although I'm stunningly good looking, this video is not about that. So this video is about, as the title says, how to optimize your Android for dual sport riding, including full offline GPS functionality. So what does that mean? Well, that means, well, let me first do this. Let me qualify a little bit. I'm not saying this is the only way to do things or the only way that will work. What I'm saying is it's an extremely successful method that I have proven that works amazingly well for me. It's cost effective, it's versatile, and it works. Now, as far as myself, I am a lifelong motorcycle rider. Almost 50, but my dual sport riding has only been for about the past 4 years. I rode motocross years ago and rode street for many years. But this whole Android GPS thing came into effect when I started dual sport riding. Now, this is what I've been using since I started, and I've really tweaked and perfected what apps and how I do it. I have over 50,000 miles easily utilizing this system, and it has never failed me. So are there better? Maybe. Are there cheaper? I doubt it. Are there other ways? Sure. That's not what this is about. This is about to break some misconceptions and to let people who are interested in this method get a better idea of how to go about doing it through a lot of trial and error and hours that I've spent seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. So the first misconception that's really, whenever somebody talks about GPS and Android use, the first misconception is, well, what do you do when you're out of cell coverage? Okay, so a cell phone, a smartphone, think of it as two devices. The cell phone and the ability to text and transmit and receive signals, that is done via cell towers. However, every smartphone out there has a GPS receiver in it. So, not a transmitter, a receiver. So what that does is it uses the same technology that a Garmin or any other GPS device uses. You can put your cell phone in airplane mode. As I'm going to show, you can use a cell phone that has no cell service on it, brand new out of the box. You still have GPS receiver in it, and as long as you have the maps loaded in the phone and the proper way to utilize them, you're fine. In fact, most of the better smartphones have at least as good, if not better, GPS receivers than many Garmin's, TomToms, all of that fun stuff. So, forget about that whole, well, you're not in cell coverage argument. It's completely moot. It doesn't matter. The other thing that everyone's going to say is, well, what about waterproof? What about outdoor use? Within a year, every phone is going to be waterproof. Right now, there's a multitude of choices out there. I myself use a Samsung S5, which is waterproof and dustproof. There's the Active, which is even drop-proof, military spec. There's a multitude of really nice cases that easily will make your phone waterproof regardless of how older it is. You don't need a newer Android to do this, by the way. You can do it with a very cheap Android if you want, as I'm going to show you. The other most common thing you'll hear is about sun, about glare. Okay. I will concede that without the use of, and there's many anti-glare screen protectors that do just that, take away the glare. I don't use one, never have, and there have been, I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I was in a position where I couldn't see my screen. It is extremely rare, and it has to be at the most awesome angle. So with a little turn of your head, you can usually, or just put your hand there. I've never had it be enough of an issue that I even felt the need to get an anti-glare screen protector. So as you can tell, this is going to be a long drawn out video, so I am going to index everything down on the bottom, and that way you can skip to parts or fast forward through me rambling. But again, I want it to be detailed, and I don't want this, I want people to get the true information, factual information, so it doesn't become a debate over things that are actually factual. So that being said, I'm going to do this in little parts, so I'm going to come back in and out, and I think we're going to come back in and start with basically what would be like a brand new phone unboxing. Alright, we'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so here we are going to go over the new phone. So, first thing I want to thank, and if you don't know his channel, you need to look it up. I'll put a link in the description down there. D.I.R.T.y. D.I.R.T.y is Tyler. Tyler is one of the most awesome dudes that I have never met, and we will go for a ride someday. But basically, Tyler was kind enough to supply this older phone so I could do this demonstration and then send it back to him as a nice fully loaded dual sport capable phone. It's really basic. It's a cheaper phone, older phone, so it's a great example of how you don't need a super duper Android to do this. Yeah, we'll get it going. Now, he sent it to me. I did. I'm going to assume everybody knows how to do a factory reset, but if you were buying a brand new phone, you wouldn't have to do that. But I went ahead and did a factory reset on this phone, and I don't like that swiping thing. There we go. Jeez. So, factory reset. Every phone's different. This one was in the settings, locations and security. Nah, where was it? Privacy. So you can hit that factory data reset there and then bring it back. So once we have this, this is kind of how the phone is set up. First thing is you want to do Wi-Fi. So I have a Connect here. I have it connected to the Wi-Fi in my office, and you would be able to do that via your home, Starbucks, anywhere you can get a free Wi-Fi or a Wi-Fi signal. You don't have to pay for service in the phone to get that. So hook up your phone to a Wi-Fi. The next thing you would want to do is, I keep going there because my other phone I can, settings. You want to add an account. Now you'll notice I have my Gmail account right there. So I've already added it, but that's really what you want to do. That would be the method of how you could connect to Google Drive or email you stuff and be able to get it that way. It's not absolutely required. You could actually, in order to get the apps, you're going to need to have a Gmail account. So yeah, you're gonna want to create that account. And yeah, so I've got it in there already. So now we're connected to the internet via Wi-Fi. I've got a Google account in the phone. So what do we want to do? First thing is we want to pull the main app we're going to use. That's Osmund. So you can do that. Your phone may have it called the Play Store. Maybe this was older. It said Market. Now it says Play. So the Play Store is where we get all our wonderful goodies. I think I'll accept that. So in the Play Store you've got your little search button, and in that search bar we want to type Osmund, O-S-M-A-N-D. Now you notice there's one, comes right up. That's what we want. Okay, so Osmund Maps and Navigations. So it gives us an install. What I'm looking down to do is, alright, Osmund Plus. Osmond Plus is the paid version. I'm going to put it on because I already own it. So okay, we'll come back as soon as this is loaded. Okay, so we've finished installing and downloading Osmond. Now it should be in our applications menu, and we will look for that. There it is, Osmond, right up here. So what we're gonna, actually I didn't want to open that straight away. What we want to do, put it on our home page. There we go. So now we open up Osmond. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep, cool. That'll be later. So it goes through its opening thing, and there's the main splash screen of Osmond. So as it sits right here without doing anything, if we just hit map, okay, what it wants us to do, obviously, you notice it says download US Montana. If we move this around, we see a little blue dot. That is us, but we don't have any base maps. So it's GPS coordinates, and we could locate ourselves and we could know where we are, but it's not placing it on the underlay of a map. So that's why it's giving us that little download US Montana. Up here, it's telling us that how many satellites we're picking up. So we're actually seeing 6 satellites right now. So that's a really 7. That's a really good signal. So I think the first thing that we're going to do here is figure out, okay, now that we have this, how do we actually get a map on it? So from this screen, what we can do is we hit down there. If we go to settings, manage map files, so that's where we get some maps. So if we hit this, okay, it gave us a little note down there, base map is required. So we don't have a base map. So here's what we want. There's our download tab, and if you look up here, you see regular, voice, roads only. We pretty much just want regular maps. You notice there's a check there for world overview map. Yes, we want that, and I think we want world altitude correction. One thing to point out, if you do not get the paid version, there is a limit to how many maps you can bring in, and it's not a lot to pay for this, guys. So compared to what you would pay for GPS or subscriptions or updates, it's insanely cheap. I think it's $7. So you can see there's even ski maps and other things, so we don't need any of those, but whoops, I recommend the world altitude, world overview. And if you look through here, you can see all of these wonderful options. You can go Europe, Germany, North America. Okay, so we can close that. We want North America, United States. Now all of these states are available. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to download my state into this. On my personal phone, I've pretty much got, I don't know, 20 different states. So Montana is what we're doing, and we're going to download that. So it's going to take a bit, depending on your connection. You see the little process bar. With this, you need to leave this open. So let this do its thing. You can't multitask. I think once you leave the Osmond app, it'll stop downloading these. So let this do its thing. Yeah, I'll come back as soon as this is done. Alright, so it's done downloading the Montana map and the world base map and the altitude correction. So those 3 maps, that didn't even take 5 minutes on the Wi-Fi here. So they're in the phone right now. This phone, by the way, doesn't even have an SD card in it. So this is running purely off the phone's memory. So it's not a problem. If you loaded your phone up with videos and all that, obviously you're probably going to want to keep all that stuff on the SD card. I recommend running Osmund off the phone memory, so just to keep it closest to the processor. And if your memory card fails or gets damaged, then you're kind of screwed. So what I would do after those downloaded, hit the back button right here. If you close out Osmond altogether, that's the best. So now when we come back into it, we've downloaded maps, kind of like a reboot of the application. So okay, it's going to bring that new information in and the new data. And here's the fun part. Now we go to map, and holy cow, we've got us. Now realize I'm not in cell coverage at this moment. I could turn my Wi-Fi, and let me do that just for the unbelievers. So we're turning off Wi-Fi. I've still got 8 satellites, and basically I've got the entire state of Montana. You're going to notice something. You see how Montana is green? Because that's the only base layer state map that I have downloaded at this point. You can download them all. You can only download a few if you don't have the paid version. Get the paid version. This is an amazing app, and the developer should be supported. So I have the Montana entire base layer. So this button up here, this little symbol, if you're familiar with any kind of Google Maps or anything, a lot of this is going to be intuitive. So this is going to bring you back to center and show you where you're at. Okay. Some quick things. Down here you're going to notice a plus and a minus. That'll actually zoom in, zoom out. Those are obvious. Okay, a little tab up here though is something that's neat. It's a map magnifier. So what it does is, if you notice, if I bring this up to 500, so it's going to show a more blown up section on the screen at any one time. I find that to be very useful when I am off-road. So I like to have mine pretty blown up like this, because depending on the speed you're going, and this auto adjusts too, you have auto zoom, so it'll do that. But I like this because it shows me the most distance of the trail, versus I don't necessarily need, I don't think I need to see perhaps as far as 2 kilometers ahead of me. So again, that's what that does, is it zooms it. Without that, it zooms your viewable image. So once it's centered, that's what I'll see here. However, we would prefer a tighter magnification. And look how tight that brings us. It really, really brings in the view. So you would set that to how you feel comfortable. So what do we have next? Here's our functionality. Okay, we have our compass up there. Now when you hit that, it changes the orientation. Let me show you that again. So up here, map orientation. So to compass, and it's acting up on me. There we go. Map orientation, it doesn't rotate. North will always be up. And then this is the direction of movement, which I personally like. So in other words, no matter where I'm going, I'm always facing straight up. I position my phone in this direction so I see the most of the trail ahead of me, rather than this direction where I would see more left to right. That doesn't help me. I don't care what's on the sides of me. I want to see them as much as I can in this way. So I keep it set to direction of movement, and it will always tell me which way north is, however. Now when we hit this button over here, we probably always want to set ourselves to car. There's the Where Am I button. It's the same as hitting that. The other options, directions. Okay, so yeah, you can look up directions. You can go, these are your options for your current position from a position you may have set as favorite, or a point you might select on the map. So you can touch a point. I'll give you an example. So if we do this, and I want directions from right here, then I can hit that. That can be our destination. It can become a favorite. Okay. Sorry, we had a little break there. So back to this. There's your directions where you can put in current position, pick a place, select on a map. Now this is waypoints and all of that. You can close that. You also have the ability to search. Now I will concede this is not, if you're in cell coverage and you're on regular roads and all of that, arguably Google Maps is phenomenal and it works really well. It's tied into databases and you could look at addresses. This is not so good. So the way you have to search by address and all of that, not the best. But again, if you're using this for dual sport riding purposes, it's really not likely you're going to be typing in somebody's address to go look them up in the middle of the wilderness. So if you are on, you know, the city streets, I mean, use Google Maps. It's fine if you need to look up and do search for people. I use Osmond all the time just as a visual map, and if I really need to look up an address, yeah, I'll just use Google and have it direct me to Google Nav, and that's fine. So search is what it is. Now my places, you're going to notice that I don't think I have anything because I've not created any yet. So what else do you have here? What this is, it's giving you different abilities. Oh look, it just created a route for me to get to where I am. So this is how you can all alter what you're doing. You can even put lat and long. It's selecting all that. Select on map. Kind of going quick here because a lot of this stuff is duplication. In this here, you can select how you want to go. It's going car, or you can go bike or walking. Here's where, just like we don't have any GPX in here, so we're not going to put that there. You can say prefer motorways, shortest way, toll roads, all those options, just like many nav systems have. When you hit this, it'll actually go into voice activated or voice nav, and so it'll turn you around and do all of those wonderful things. And you hit that, it'll give you a time of what time it is. It'll also show you how much total distance. And anyway, so if we want to get out of that, we would need to open this up. You'll see there's a pause and a stop navigation. We want to stop that. We do want to stop the navigation. However, we still have our destination set. So let's clear that. We'll clear the destination. We do. We want to clear all of that. So there's an example of some of that. Now, here's a real important area. Configure map. Now, when you hit this, this is really what shows you have map styles, okay? I've been using high contrast, but you can experiment with these, and this will show you the different ways that you can render. Sunrise, sunset, so you can change that. You can change a lot of different things here. Cycle routes, which is nice because sometimes you'll see some single track things when you do that. More details. Road quality is nice. Anyway, all of these wonderful things we can add to it. So that's going to change. You know, look, it's given the little high contrast. It changes some of the rendering. That's our configure map again. Points of interest, you might want labels. You probably do want favorites there. Now, if we put GPX track, that's important. This is where you would select. There are no tracks in this phone directory, so there's none to pick from. And there will be, but next screen, configure screen. Here's where you show what shows on your screen. Compass is important. Street name, where am I, waypoint, destination, GPS info. I personally don't like that because I know if it's got GPS, I don't need it to be on the screen there all the time. One thing I do like, I like to have my altitude up there. I also do like to know if I'm on the road. It pops up a speed limit. It's also handy to know speed. Time to go, I'm not usually concerned about. Anyway, these things, depending on your trip, you can mess with that. Left panel, all that, if you want to show the turns. A ruler is nice if you want to be able to determine how far to go between point to point as the crow flies. So that's kind of what we've got here. Oops, my satellite image is still up there. So configure screen. I don't want GPS info. There we go. Why is it still there? Alright, so, okay, we'll get back to where we were. Center ourselves. So a few things here we want to do. If we go into settings, plugins is important. I would select online maps. We want the ability to record our trips. Live monitoring, we can set that option up. If you want the ability to take audio and video notes from within it, you can set that up. This is nice for distances. You don't need the accessibility, OSM, and development, but all those other features within plugins, it's good to enable those. General, okay, default profile. So we probably want to be a car. Map orientation, direction of movement is what I like. Screen orientation, whichever way I hold the device, but you may want to always, in case, so you're if you have an auto sensor and you're really bouncing around a lot, you might want to put it as portrait. English is what I would use. Okay, driving region, United States, voice guidance, we're going to use the English. Music, app theme, you can pick whatever you want there and display how they look. This looks a little different. I like this. So storage directory, it's going to put it in the SD card. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? Navigation. So profile specific, car, fastest. These are all things. Weight limit, auto center, auto zoom. Long range, mid range, that just depending on your speed, it'll zoom up the map for you. Yeah, you can have, it'll give you notice that you're going over the speed limit by how much you can set. Zoom buttons, you can see. All these are little tweaks that you can get into and have fun with that. So you can see it's already made some changes here. There's that audio note, video note, take a photo, and that'll be saved in here. It's a handy way, so you don't have to go into a different app. You can just hit that. I don't really do it too much with these. There we go. Cancel. Nope, we wanted to center ourselves. There we go. Right, what else we've got? So back in settings, plugins, online maps, trip recordings, save current GPX track, all these wonderful things. Online tracking. Now, how do we Okay, so what I've done here is, all you see up here on the right, all of this is done. I've enabled all the plugins, and at that point you should restart Osmund. When you go to your configure screen, now is where you can select what you want to show up there. So under configure screen, I like my compass, the street name, where am I, these activity buttons, waypoint. I don't need to know how many GPS. All of these things you can have. Here's the neat ones. Distance measurement, that was a plugin. Audio video notes, you need to enable those plugins, and then when you put that up there, so this one that says start, you hit that. When you hit start editing, it starts creating a GPX track based on where you are. What's really cool is even if you're in an area that is not on any map, there's no trails, there's nothing, and you're just off trailing it. When you do this, it will record that so that you can always go back to that point. So this is a great way to actually map any areas that might be single track or anything like that that aren't forest roads. You ride around while you're doing it, and you can follow yourself backwards. It's like a breadcrumb trail or whatever you want. The red button here, that's the audio or video or photo. So the 3110, that's elevation. So I love seeing that. I'm sitting at that high. You can hide a little bit or anything. So there's that. So the next thing we're gonna learn how to do here is we want to get a GPX track on here. So the first thing, I'm going to come right back here. Hang tight. Alright guys, so what we're going to do is basically, just to show you what I've done, is on the computer here, I've sent myself to my Gmail account, I've sent a GPX track. It's a track I created. I know it's good. And we will figure out how to implement that into the Osmond app. Okay, so another thing you're going to need to do on the phones, because you can manage some files, but the attachment downloading stock ability of phones really leave a lot to be desired. So we're going to go back into the Play Store. What you want to do is look for this. Download all files. You want to put that on the phone. What this will do is it'll give you ability to preview attachments in Gmail and allocate where the download goes on the front side, so you don't have to go searching and transferring stuff around. So I have already put that on the phone just now. So what that does is, when we're in our email, then here is the emails that I sent. You'll notice the GPX track, and they have the ability to preview and download. Preview would do nothing because we don't have a GPX viewer per se, so it's going to look for it, but I won't know what to open it with. So that's why I did that. But if we download it, here's what we want to do. And this is what's important. We use download files, okay? Folder is important. We want to take that folder and we want to browse. We want to select our destination in Osmond and the tracks folder. We want to select that folder. So basically you'll see the destination is into Osmond tracks. That's critical. That is where Osmond will always look for existing GPX tracks. So once we do that, we save the file. Okay? We don't want to open it. It's saved. We just close. Okay. So now we have that file in the phone. We go back to Osmund now. We're trying to go back to Osmund now. And there we go. Okay. So it's reopened. That's where we are. Now, if we want to go ahead and see, and I'll just bring this down a little bit. So there's Kalispell. There's where I am. Here's how we open up that track. We want to go to Configure Map. You'll see it looks like layers there. That's what we want to do. So in that map configure, here's the GPX track option. We select that. It now gives us the recorded track that we did earlier and the one we just put in the tracks folder, Tally Lake Loop. So if we select that, okay, what it's going to do, it's going to bring that GPX track onto the phone. Now, you'll see that blue is a track, and that is a track that can be followed. Okay, not only can it be followed, but you could utilize this track and get voice navigation from it. So you have that track in the phone. You can configure the map. You can take the track out. You can add multiple. You can even show your current track that you're doing. So you can keep adding these tracks in that you have on the phone. It would get a little bit crazy. Now, here's what you can do as well. So when we go back to directions, it asks you, do you want to use that track for navigation? Well, why not? So what it's going to do, it's going to give us our route. It's going to tell us it's 58 miles. You notice that. It's also going to give us our finish time based on that. Well, there you go. It just told you. So it's following the track. The dark purple on this is going to be the navigation. The blue is where the laid track we put down. And yeah, this is just going to do what you do, and it gives you your finish point. If you ever want to stop that, go back, you can stop navigation, you can stop it. You still have your track on there with your destination. You can clear your destination, but you still have the track displayed. If you want to take that track off, you go back to your configure map layers and you pull off your GPX track. So now you're back to just the map. Oops, sorry. Yeah, there's that. That's awesome. That's how you pull a GPX track on there. You can get GPX tracks from many different locations. They're supplied by places. You just want a pure GPX. You don't need Garmin friendly. You don't need a KML. This is just straight, nice GPX. At any point, you can press and hold on the map. You will get a pop-up box. When you hit that, you have all these wonderful options to do. Directions to, directions from. You can set that spot as your destination. You can search near there. You can share these GPS coordinates. Geo, QR codes, all of these wonderful options. It's just really an incredibly feature-filled system that you can pretty much do whatever you need to do. You can go into My Places. So now you have a place where you can look at your pre-recorded stuff. It tells you some information. You can hold for options. So you can bring them in this way as well, right from My Places. Show on map, select to show. I mean, they're constantly updating this, and it's just getting better and better. Cool. Well, I think the next important thing to do would be to show you guys what I use if I want to. Well, first off, if you're out in the field and you want to create a GPX track, I mean, just ride around and live record the GPX track. That's great. If you want to plot something to then follow, It's pretty difficult to do it from the phone just because it's small, but you could do it via this website, but you're going to need, well, you can do it on here offline, and you can do that pretty easily by start editing. So you want to mark a point, you start, you keep going. Now what this is going to do, it's just going to create a track. Now when you're done doing that, you could save that as a GPX, you could finish editing, it tells you how far, so that's like a ruler that creates, it tells you it's 3,700 feet and change. So when I hold that, I want to clear all points. I didn't want to do that. However, that's a handy feature. But I'm going to show you how I create, if I'm sitting at home and I want to browse around a map and I see some roads and I maybe want to, or I want to build a trip to then follow, to load it on the phone. I don't want to get it from someone, I want to build it via a map. So what I would do is, there's a website here, and I have it saved on my desktop because I do use it a lot. It's called Map My Ride, and you can go mapmyride.com, and you can sign up an account, but you don't have to pay for it. It's free. And really on this, here you have an ability, and it utilizes Google Maps, but go to create a map. You can also bring in a GPX track and everything onto this and work off of it, but here you have your options to name it and do all those details with your little toolbox here. But the gist of this works like a regular map. You click anywhere on it, and you have different options. It snaps the roads. It can stay off bicycle paths. You can go into driving mode. Delete point, all of these things. I'm not going to get into the little finer points of how to use it, but this is very awesome. Once you've got your little track here, what you want to do is, let's see, you got to name it, so we'll call it test. We've got to choose an activity, and there is a, way down here in other, there is a motorcycle somewhere, which, oh look, motocross, motorcycle. You can pick it. Oh, I picked motocross. There's an option to send it to phone here, and if you hit save route, okay, it gives you some information there. Okay, so what it's done, has automatically emailed me. Hit open route. Alright, we're going to back that up a second. Forgot about the peculiar here. Send to phone, ignore that. Really what you want to do, so you have your map here. Under actions is really what we want it to do. We want to export the map. You want to export it as a GPX. And once you do that, it's going to save it on your computer. You save it in that same place on your computer, and then you perform that same email thing. When it sends it as sends directly to your phone, it wants to connect it to its own phone app, but I don't actually use the Map My Ride phone app, so it's just easier to create this as a GPX file, and then you can email it, download it, and all of that. And once it's emailed, so we get creation of files. You can put them into the phone, you can create them on the fly. What else does Osmund do? It has live, and that's that Osmo feature. So within this, you can basically create groups. You can have live monitoring. So other people, and that's going to require some cell coverage to keep track of a group, but you can, if we go back into the configure screen and we put our Osmo on it, so Osmos, what that's going to do is, again, it gives us live monitoring, and when you start looking at that, you can see your IDs, you can set up, again, this is going to require cell coverage though, but people could track you. You can set up the website where they can go, and that's that Osmo. Phenomenal app. Alright, well, we're going to get into some other app uses that'll work really well for your dual sport needs. By the way, anything with this Osmond, if you have any particular questions, it is so detailed and so in-depth. I'm like brushing the surface here to get people up and running, but truth is if you have any questions, I'll help you. Message me, give me an email. This is an overview to get people figured out how to use this and how to throw away or not have to buy those $500–600 Garmins. Let's talk about some other apps here. So here's another really cool app that I found. It's I'm going to go back into the Play Store. This is an app called Every Trail Pro. Now, what would you want this app for? You would want this app to, if let's say you're going on a really cool trip or a ride, this isn't for you to use to find your way around. This would be something you would do to present this trip afterwards to people, someplace really cool that they could go where they don't need software, they don't need anything, and you could just send them to a link and they can kind of see your trail, what you did, and this would allow you to embed photos. So if you take photos from within this app, it will allow you to embed those into, we're going to go ahead and open that. So really what this does is it's a tracker. And now it will track your GPX track. We're just going to use it as a guest for now. So what it does is it automatically, it starts. It's on a map. It will locate you. So again, this is using your GPS. It has its own base layer maps. You do not need cell coverage for this, once again. When you hit start tracking, it is recording your track and it will give you a little notice up there. Now throughout this, at any point, you can add a note. That note will then show up in the path of the track for any people that view it. You can also then add a picture. It'll open up the camera app, and when you take that picture, it'll automatically put the GPS coordinates and have that picture show up in the appropriate place. Different map options. So when you're doing your trip, you leave this running. You pause it maybe if you stop somewhere. It's going to also give average speed, elevation, all those climbs. When you're done, obviously you hit finish. Now you can upload it now, and you can upload it later. If you upload it now, you title it up, you put your activities in, and you do all this, you hit save, and you've already created, you should go to everytrail.com, and you can make the trip public. I prefer to just make it public but not share directly, and then I go to the website when I'm home later, I pull the link, and I can put that link on Facebook or anywhere, and it's a great place. Someone can go there. They don't have to sign up for anything. They don't have to join Facebook. They can go right to the link I send them, and they can see the path I took, and any little photos will pop up. It's really neat. My relatives enjoy watching it. It's a nice way to share your trip without somebody having to be computer friendly. Every trail and all of these, I highly advocate doing the paid version. They're pennies for what they offer. So what's our next one? Okay, we're going to go into we're going to go into an app called, now a lot of people will be on, we'll go back to the Play Store. So a lot of people wind up with motorcycles for whatever reason, one way or another. Their speedo breaks or it doesn't work, and then you have all these, you know, they have these wonderful things that you can buy and replace your speedo with digital speedos and all that. But when it comes right down to it, sometimes a simple way is the best. So there's an app called Ulysses Speedometer. Now, there's also a pro version, and it's a whole $1.99. Guess what? It's worth it. I have it. So we're going to go ahead, we'll just put this Ulysses on. Now, what's really nice about the Ulysses is, it just takes a moment, it's not too big. It's extremely customizable. It's going to offer you the ability to do heads-up display in your car if you wanted, but if you have this positioned on your bike, what's neat is it'll actually work and run behind programs. So your speed will display within any other applications as a little kind of a underlay. Okay, accept, close. So there we go. Nice speedo. All of these things are, you know, you have temperature, it's hooked up to cell service, you got how far away, GPS, compass, trip records, time, date. It'll work in, it also has battery indicators. Well, this phone might not be on auto tilt, that's fine. Once you hit that, you can then have quick access to lots of different things. You can preset what nav you want. Just really super app. Ulysses Speedometer. Okay, so let's get some of these closed up here. Don't need that. We don't need the speedometer on. Exit. There we go. So what's another good app here that I use on the phone that's really good? And that would be, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you on my own, so because I've already got them on there. So here's my Samsung S5, and you'll notice I've got our Every Trail up there. I've got Osmund. This up here is a really Rain Alarm Pro, and it just gives you a proximity in all of this to rain clouds. And that's a great quick visual. It shows you if the storm's bigger, getting bigger, smaller. It's called Rain Alarm Pro, and it sits right up there, and I can at a glance see if I'm driving into or away from weather. This app is called Flashlight. It's amazing. I mean, for one, there you go. You've got a flashlight, and that's super handy. But what's really nice is it's also got some other if you felt a need, you could maybe have somebody pull over. I'll be honest, I did use that once. It was illegal, but it worked. And this came in handy if you are on the side of the road with no power in a busy traffic area. You could set this there and it would be quite visible. Again, handy little things to have. It has, you know, mood lights and all of this other stuff, but Morse code, signals, but I find that the emergency light's really handy and the flashlight. These are just safety items that are great to utilize since you have the smartphone. Okay, another good app is for all you ethanol-free freaks, and I am one of them. I do not want to put ethanol in my motorcycles. This will locate ethanol-free gas stations that are just close to you. It's called Pure Gas, and you can see I am 0.6 miles away from the nearest ethanol-free, and that's pretty cool. There's other ones out there that do it, but that one works really well. So last app, and it's just really important for all of you riders, this is what I recommend. AAA, guys. You may have a good service through your insurance or anything, but for the pennies it is, AAA is a lifesaver. First off, as a rider, show your AAA card. You will get back your membership fees and discounts from merchants easily. Not to mention, AAA will go on any mapped road. So it could even be an unpaved forest road. Most tow services will ride on those. I myself personally pulled a flat, broke my axle nut wrench, and I couldn't get my tire off. AAA picked me up from a forest road 10 miles away from paved roads. It's a lifesaver. It's inexpensive compared to what it would cost for any tows or aggravation. So, and then the AAA app on the phone. Again, it's fantastic. If you have insurance, apps, use them. Put them on your phone. Take pictures on your phone for everything. Use your phone's video camera. Use it within these apps. Smartphones are coming a long way, guys. I mean, these are so much better than they were, and they're only constantly getting better. The other thing that's phenomenal with using your phone, and this is something I've chosen to do, I'm sure you've heard of Cenas. These are in-helmet Bluetooth speakers. Oops. I've tipped you over. That was terrible. Can you see me now? Oops. Sorry about that. So basically, there's other ones, Uclear, Cena, other devices out there. They all basically have different. Oh, this was Utah, by the way. Nice ride on the Utah BDR. But anyway, you can get these in-helmet. I have a Cena SMH 10R. I hook it up Bluetooth to my phone. I have in-helmet speakers. So I have full functionality of my phone that is my GPS. It's sitting right there in front of me. If I'm in cell service, at my option, I can answer a phone call, or I can choose to not. I can ignore it. I can text via voice recognition. I can listen to my Pandora or my saved music if I'm out of cell service, or not. If you're connected to your phone via technology and you use it for a lot of things, having that ability to have that as your main go-to device, staring at it for your GPS, your map, and just have all of that functionality either at your fingertip or with a Bluetooth helmet set. I mean, total hands-free operation and all functions. So phone, text, GPS, navigation, music, it can't be beat. Please reach out to me, message me. This is super long, and I could probably be 10 times longer getting into the intimate details. Message me, email me. Let's get you going and get you riding out there and not getting lost. And when you start using this, share your tracks. Let people know. Message me. I'll put your tracks up on a public site. I'm also going to put links to a Facebook riders group that I have on Facebook, and it is called D.I.R.T.y. That stands for Dual Sport International Riders Team. Basically, if you take your bike off the pavement, you're welcome in the group. It's really fun, family friendly, informative, and yeah, hope to see you there. Look me up on Facebook, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Everride, and hope to see you guys out there on the trail. Thanks. Have an awesome day. Be safe.